I'd like to discuss how ordinary people can save their lives in case of a fire. If you encounter a fire, don't panic. The more panicked you are, the worse the outcome will be. You need to stay calm and save yourself. There are two situations. The first is when the fire hasn't reached a point where you can't escape. In this case, there's no doubt that you should immediately run downstairs. Once you get out, you'll be safe, and the rest is up to the firefighters. However, if you open the stairwell and are greeted by thick smoke and can't escape, you need to find ways to protect yourself. Let me first introduce a theoretically foolproof but only applicable under specific conditions method. Turn on all the faucets in your home and let the water flow. The reason is simple. When the firefighters arrive, they will also use water to extinguish the fire. But you have water pipes in your own home, and the fire can't damage the water pipe system before it kills people. There's no problem with letting the water flow. If you have a hose, you can directly connect it to the water source and start filling your living room with water to form a water protection layer. If you don't have a hose, just turn on the faucet and pull out the drain pipe below to prevent the water from flowing into the sewer, and let it flow freely throughout the house. This will definitely help you survive the fire. In fact, this is how fire sprinkler systems work. Many people have never seen various firefighting facilities in action during a fire, and thus mistakenly think that firefighting facilities are useless. This is a very wrong view. Because a skilled general never boasts of his military exploits, most fires start as small flames that can be easily extinguished. Buildings with complete firefighting facilities will not let these small flames turn into a big fire. You'll find that in all fire news reports, firefighting facilities never seem to work, but the real reason is that buildings where firefighting facilities show their effectiveness won't catch fire in the first place. A small fire being quickly extinguished is not even news that would reach your neighbors. So why isn't this method widely publicized when it can help during a fire? Because it's difficult to use and only works under specific circumstances. The main reason is that your home's water pipes are too thin. Although the water pipes supplying the entire building are thick, the ones in your home are thin. If all the residents in the building start letting water flow, and all the water continuously flows from the upper floors to the lower floors, it can effectively suppress the fire. But if only your family lets water flow while others are at a loss, not only won't your water help suppress the fire, but your household items will also provide new energy for the fire. The small amount of water from your home won't make much difference. If the fire is quickly extinguished before it reaches your home's decoration may be damaged by the water, while those neighbors who do nothing may suffer less loss. It's too difficult to require all residents in the building to make the most rational collective decision at the right time. Therefore, most of the time, this method isn't very practical. Moreover, the minimum cost of using this method is that your floor will be completely flooded. That's why mainstream organizations don't recommend such a risky suggestion. But what I want to say is that if your situation has reached a point where you can see flames licking upwards, and the indoor temperature is rising sharply, then if you can let water flow, do it without hesitation. Anyway, under high temperatures, your home's decoration will definitely be gone, and letting water flow throughout the house will definitely be beneficial. Regarding letting water flow, many people think that the bathroom is the safest place during a fire because it has the most water. This is wrong because the scariest thing in a fire isn't. Fire is smoke. Over 90% of fire victims die from toxic smoke. All kinds of decorations in the entire building produce extremely toxic smoke when burned. The water spraying strategy is difficult to apply. Another reason is that this method can only suppress the fire on the current floor and the next floor. However, if a fire breaks out in a neighbor's apartment 5 or even 10 floors below yours and you don't handle the resulting toxic smoke properly, it can also cost you your life. I'm bringing this up today, mainly because of the news about a female homeowner in a luxury apartment in Shenzhen who got into trouble due to a fire downstairs. In fact, the fire on the lower floor could have been slightly suppressed by spraying water on the current floor, and everything would have been fine when the firefighters arrived. Most of the time, in building fires, toxic smoke injures the most people. Many victims are knocked down by toxic smoke before the fire reaches their floor. When ordinary people encounter a fire, if they can run downstairs, they should definitely do so. Of course, the golden rescue time in a fire is sometimes less than 3 minutes, and most people don't have that opportunity. If you can't run downstairs, then never run to the rooftop. This is a misunderstanding of many people. Hide in your own home, don't move, close all doors and windows tightly, and wait for rescue. This is not waiting for death, but it does have preconditions. There are fire stairs on each floor, and the fire stairs in any residential building in China must be equipped with fire doors, like this one below. You must have seen it. This fire door can not only prevent fire but also has a very strong smoke isolation function. It can ensure that there is not much smoke in the fire stairs, even in the case of a large fire, allowing residents to evacuate quickly. When the fire stairs are available, you must quickly run downstairs through the fire stairs. Don't stay at home. When you leave, remember to pull your inner fire door closed. Don't leave the fire door on your floor open after you run away, preventing smoke from rushing in. Of course, in new-style communities, fire doors are set to automatically close like springs. As long as you don't deliberately block them, it's hard to keep them open. I'm just using this to popularize the significance of fire doors. There should be no flammable materials in the fire stairs. Fire doors can prevent fire and smoke, providing precious escape time for residents. However, this doesn't mean that fire doors are invincible. If the fire situation is extremely serious, or the fire door on the inner floor happens to be opened or damaged and fails, causing a large amount of high-temperature smoke to rush into the fire stairs from the burning inner floor, then it's over. A chimney effect will be directly triggered in the fire stairs. At this time, the fire stairs will be filled with high-temperature toxic smoke. Not only can you not escape, but the fire will also quickly spread to all floors. All floors where the fire doors are not tightly closed will be ignited by the incoming high-temperature toxic smoke. The final result is like this: in the same bottom floor fire that triggered a chimney effect, some high floors caught fire while others didn't. The biggest difference is whether the fire door on this floor is tightly closed, and whether there are a large number of sundries piled up near the fire door. According to fire safety requirements, no sundries are allowed to be piled up in the passage leading to the fire stairs. The property management should clean them regularly. It's not just about affecting a few seconds of escape time, but also about preventing the high-temperature toxic smoke from igniting them along the way and helping the fire spread. Take the picture above as an example. In the case of a bottom floor fire spreading upwards, the floors that strictly comply with fire safety requirements will be fine, while those that don't will catch fire. Knowing this principle, we then know the optimal countermeasure in the worst-case scenario. The so-called worst-case scenario is that the fire stairs are filled with toxic smoke and are completely impassable. At this time, unless you are on the second or third floor and can run downstairs in one breath, otherwise, never try to go downstairs. The risk is too great. The protective effect of a wet towel is not as great as you think. It can't replace a breathing mask. When you find that the fire stairs are completely blocked by toxic smoke, and it's impossible to escape downstairs, what you should do is immediately close the fire door on your floor tightly, then close your doors and windows tightly at home, and drag out quilts or something at home, fill them with water, and block up the gaps. Remember that 90% of fire victims die from toxic smoke, and only 10% are directly burned to death. In some cases, only 2% die from direct burns. And many of those who die from direct burns are because they were knocked down by toxic smoke, and then lay in the fire scene. If you stay still indoors and then get burned to death. So what you need to do is to prevent toxic smoke. As long as you can ensure that the toxic smoke doesn't seep into your home, you'll be okay and can hold out until the fire brigade arrives, and then you'll be safe. When both doors and windows are lost as defensive positions, then you have to run to a place where you can breathe fresh air. Go wherever there is less smoke. Bathrooms are generally located in places with poor ventilation. So most of the time, the bathroom is not the last safe place. After all, having water is useless. Having fresh air is what matters. Of course, if it has come to the point where doors and windows are no longer defensible, then the fire must have already spread near your floor. You don't need to wait until this happens. In fact, if the fire escape is lost and the chimney effect has started and it's impossible to escape downstairs, I suggest you start flooding the whole house. Because at this time, the whole building is extremely dangerous and no floor can claim to be safe. At least lowering the temperature of the floor might enable you to hold out for another 3 or 5 minutes, which is the difference between life and death. The rest is to hold your ground and wait for rescue while preventing the invasion channels of toxic smoke. Nowadays, the fire brigade arrives very quickly in cities. When the worst has already happened, holding your ground is much more likely to ensure survival than running around aimlessly. Remember, as long as the fire escape is still usable, the best solution at this time is to escape via the fire escape. If the fire escape is completely impassable, the best solution at this time is to close all the fire doors on your floor tightly, close all doors and windows in your home, wet all the quilts and flammable items in the whole family, and block all gaps. At the same time, it can also prevent your own flammable items from being ignited by high temperatures. If you are forced back indoors at this step, it is recommended to flood the whole house directly to cool the concrete. Otherwise, even if the open flame doesn't come in, the high temperature can also ignite some items in your home remotely. Once a fire breaks out indoors, then it will be really troublesome. It will be very difficult for you to find a safe place to breathe fresh air again. Even if only your own family's flooding can be of a little use in the whole building, it is still better than having no use at all. If it comes to the last step when there is also a fire indoors, the best solution at this time is for the whole family to hold their ground on the balcony and call for help externally so that the fire brigade can see you as soon as possible. Never be so desperate as to jump off the building. Bear in mind the above knowledge points. It cannot guarantee your safety in case of a fire, but it can greatly increase your survival rate. Compared with those neighbors who don't know anything and run around aimlessly, even the lowest survival rate can be increased by dozens of times. That's just so crazy. Finally, one more point needs to be emphasized. Remove all debris near the fire escape and ensure that all fire doors are intact, which can greatly enhance the safety of everyone in the whole building. You may have thought this regulation was superfluous before, but after learning the relevant knowledge points today, you will understand why it is required like this.